How's it going, everybody? Hey. All right, everybody have a seat. Hey, sweetie, how are you? Good to see you. Everybody have a seat. Have a seat. Well, thank you, everybody. It is wonderful to see you. Welcome to the White House in the future. All right. Thank you very much.
Talk to us a little bit about Swipes for the Homeless. I know you're the co-founder of the organization, the CFO. Tell us a little bit about how it came about and how it actually works.
So, Swipes for the Homeless, the concept of taking leftover food and donating it to the needy is, that's not a revolutionary thing. It's something that's happened long before Swipes for the Homeless, and hopefully it's something that's going to happen long after we're gone. But I think, I guess the innovative aspect of our program really is where my co-founder, one of my best friends, Brian Pizzeski, who's sitting right there.
Where's Brian?
I love you, Brian. So Brian and myself, I think, I guess the innovative aspect of our program really was looking at this potential that hadn't been tapped yet on campus where, there were a lot of limitations that had been happening before when students were trying to use their leftover meals to feed the homeless. There are limitations like how much can you physically carry with you? Other limitations like food spoiling, and just in general, when you're working separately as your own entity, there are a lot of roadblocks that you really face. So Brian and myself co-founded the organization, co-founded the nonprofit to really work with administration in a really collaborative effort and really to emphasize that, as students, we don't need to be constantly fighting administration, fighting our university to try to get, this mission out, but really making sure that we work with them. So leveraging the relationships we had on campus with the Office of Residential Life, with our Vice Chancellor, to really let them know that this is a true Bruin value. Service is something that is really important, and as a public institution, together, administration and students should really be partnering to feed the homeless and to really address this really serious issue in Los Angeles.
Well, Tack, homelessness isn't only a problem in LA, right? It's a problem around the country. What would you recommend that people do if they want to get involved in dealing with the homelessness in their own communities?
There's 1,000 different ways that you can really, I think, tackle that problem. And actually, a funny thing with Swipes for the Homeless is we're always constantly we're battling whether we should change the name or not, because it's not all we do. We also increase awareness. We recently set up a Bruin meal voucher program where students could eat in the dining halls. So there's so many innovative ways I think that you can really address this issue, but an easy way is by emailing swipes@ucla.edu and we can start a chapter at your school.
That's great. Are there chapters at other schools, by the way?
There are. We're really proud to say that we've expanded to 10 chapters right now, and due to our amazing opportunity to be recognized by the White House, 10 other schools have emailed us asking to start chapters in their school too.
Bravo, that's great. Tack, did you want to respond?
Yeah, before I answer that question, I just want to say, as I'm hearing you guys speak, there's so many similarities between how we started, working with dining and these partnerships, and I literally feel like even though our causes are so different, we have all experienced so many commonalities. And the little partnership that you guys have, I want in on it too. So Swipes for the Homeless can definitely work something in there. But for me, I think there wasn't a moment, but it was more my upbringing. So I immigrated over here when I was 4 years old from Vietnam with my 3 brothers, my mom and my dad. Your very typical immigrant story. We didn't have a lot. So we definitely grew up in our household with this mentality that you appreciate every single thing you have, you don't take anything for granted, and you work really hard for anything you can get. And for me, obviously, that's something that I cherish a lot. I'm so thankful for that upbringing. And for me, something that's a constant reminder of why I do Swipes for the Homeless is we're so privileged in our society to have everything, and I think that we live in a society where you hear a lot of complaints, like, I want this, I need that to be happy. And I definitely experienced this myself a couple weeks ago when I was walking back from a concert with a couple buddies at 1:30 in the morning in LA, and it was 50 degrees, and for the West Coast, 50 degrees is really cold. And so I said to my 2 friends, which I shouldn't have, and I said, I'm freezing. And then right when I said that, I looked over to my right, and there were 2 homeless men sitting on the floor on the pavement with no blankets, just the clothes on their backs, and they actually were freezing. And so right at that moment, I said to my friends, I'm so sorry, I take that back. I'm not freezing, I'm just cold. And it just reminded me so much of the privilege I have, and little things like that, even coming from my upbringing where my parents taught me that so much, you still need to be reminded all the time because that's a society we live in. We often forget, and I'm so happy and blessed to have those moments where you remind yourself, wow, like I'm really lucky. We're all so lucky to be sitting in this room,
Absolutely.
I think what I would add to that, and I think, Ted, you could probably really relate to me on this, is when I was in college, I remember people would often say, the two routes are you either really concentrate on your career and professional experience and internships, or you get involved on campus, student council, student groups, whatever it is. And something I've learned is, having graduated last year, is being involved on campus and having that leadership experience is so incredible, and it opens so many doors to you. And I've learned so much more being a leader in this organization than I have in my professional experience, because when I'm in an interview and they ask me questions like, tell me about a time when you ran into a problem and how did you fix it, I can't even begin to choose which one I've faced in Special Homeless. So you gain so many practical skills, and I know that's definitely been very beneficial for me. And I hope that when students are kind of making that decision and trying to decide what's more important, social engagement or my career, they're not mutually exclusive. They're two things that really go hand in hand and really can build your leadership skills.
Excellent.